Hello, everybody. My name is Alonzo Montalvo. Thanks for tuning in to my first podcast of the series I'm going to call The Ins and Outs of the Offseason. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get to you guys last week because I wasn't feeling so good and I didn't want to sound kind of funky talking to you guys. So I'm going to get it started off this week with actually talking about the deals that went on this offseason. Now, this week I'm going to kind of go over the names that didn't hit the highlights as high. There's still some here that are big names, but the bigger names such as Greinke, Cueto, Aroldis Chapman, those kind of names I'll be doing next week. So if I don't touch them this week, hopefully I'll touch the ones you're thinking of next week. As I was going through the deals, there were so many deals that if I even start touching on those ones, I'm going to be talking to you guys forever. So, first things first, I'm gonna get started with the deals that happened this week that kind of went on. So I'll start with the ones that avoided arbitration. Sorry. Uh, First one's gonna be AJ Pollock. He signed a 2-year deal with the Arizona Diamondbacks after his season with them last year, being an All-Star. Things are looking up for him. Hopefully, if he stays, hopefully it's not just a one breakout year deal thing. Hopefully, he can stay solid. Because if he stays healthy and keeps going, Paul Goldschmidt stays consistent like he has since he's been up to the majors. David Peralta had a good year last year. Hopefully, he can keep going. And then just get better production from some of the other players. And now this team will be rolling with some of the deals they made and that they were actually one of the better offense in the year last year. So hopefully, keeping him there for 2 more years, just keeping him. If he shows that he can still be solid, I think he can even get a longer contract deal. Another one would be JD Martinez, another 2-year deal with the Tigers. He has proven to be a huge signing for the Detroit Tigers. Kind of a big bat when he first came to the league, but ever since he's been in Detroit, he's proven himself. Over 20 homers and I think over 20 home runs in 2 years in a row. So he's been a big key for the Tigers offense. So hopefully with that 2-year deal, they'll just keep that offense going there. The biggest one, Josh Donaldson, another 2-year deal one with Toronto worth 28.65 million. It's kind of it's a lot of money, but what do you expect? The American League MVP, he had an amazing year. Another big part with him and that Toronto offense that just was probably probably one of the scariest offenses in the league last year. So with that 2-year deal, he's going to be earning every bit of that million right there. It was 28.65 million, I believe. So let's go ahead and get started to the deals that happened this week. Um, Howie Kendrick, signed a 2-year contract with the Dodgers worth 20 million. He This happened on February 4th, so last Thursday. So it's kind of been over a week in a sense, but I figured I'd touch on it since it just happened. He's 32 years old. Came over from his first season without being with the Angels was last year. Now with the Dodgers, had a great year actually. He probably was one of their better offensive stars throughout the whole year and most consistent. Me being a D-backs fan, whenever he played the Diamondbacks, seems like he had a great game every time he played. So, and I've kind of followed him through the times he was with the Angels, and he's just a solid second baseman. You know, just really consistent, and he'll be since he signed this 2-year deal, he'll be the starter over Chase Utley. So that means Chase Utley will probably be the utility infielder kind of guy for the Dodgers. So the Dodgers are kind of having a little bit of a older roster, but a good. It was definitely needed for the Dodgers to re-sign Howie Kendrick to a 2-year deal. It's only going to help them further themselves, and what is shaping up to be, or at least looking to be, one of the toughest divisions in the league, which is going to be the NL West. Another deal in the NL West, Tyler Clippard. A 2-year contract with the Diamondbacks, worth 8.25 million, including a 4 million signing bonus. So he's up to 12.25 million right there. He's 30 years old. He was with the Nationals when he kind of became a bigger name. Made the All-Star team with the Nationals 2 years ago. This last season, was a roster move during the middle of the season, so he got traded to the Mets. The Mets picked him up for their postseason run that they had. But for the Diamondbacks, this is a great deal. If what the Diamondbacks have done, which is also maybe a Diamondbacks fan, I'm going to touch on what the Diamondbacks did during the offseason next week. But I'll touch on what some of the bigger ones here this week that happened. Clippard was one of them. So for the Diamondbacks, with the deals they have done, they want to make sure they have a solid bullpen as well. I mean, you can't just go out and get starters if you don't have a bullpen to help back up your starters. It'd be kind of, hopefully you'd be expecting those starters to be out there to throw, complete game every time if you don't have a bullpen. So he's going to be the setup reliever to Brad Ziegler, who has been with the Diamondbacks for quite some time now and has proven to be probably the most consistent reliever they've had in, I mean, a long time. Because how I see it is Diamondbacks get a good pitcher, has one off year, and boom, gone. So Ziegler's been consistent. He started closing last year with the issues they had at the closer, and he proven to be successful at it. So he's going to keep the closing job, and Clippard's going to be that setup man for him. And that deal was made on February 8th, so this past Monday, and it was a big one. I mean, he said he wanted to go where he wanted to be, and it ended up being Arizona. I don't know if that was his exact place, but it was definitely probably one of them since he's there. Another one that happened this week would be Matt Latos. Signed a 1-year deal with the White Sox on Tuesday, the 9th. He's 20 years old, so he's still relatively young for a starter. He's a right-handed pitcher. He kind of made a name for himself in Cincinnati. That's when him and Cueto kind of popped up together there, and he had some really solid years. This last year, he was started in Miami. He signed with the Marlins in a pitcher-friendly park, hoping he'd have a great year. Then didn't turn out so great, but he was still, by the time the trade rumors were coming up, he started having, solid outings. So Dodgers picked him up for their postseason run. And then I didn't know this, kind of shocked me, but he ended up going to the Los Angeles Angels and that towards the end of the year as well, actually, and pitched for them in the postseason as the Angels made it as well. So those are the big moves that happened this week in baseball, coming up close to spring training. So it was interesting to see some big names still out there with, I mean, like less than a week and a half for pitchers and catchers reporting. So I'm gonna go over some of the signings and trades that happened. Like I said, this week I'm not touching on what I think are the bigger name ones, but I still believe there are some big name ones here that I'm gonna be going over. First one is gonna be Ian Kennedy. Signed a 5-year contract worth $70 million with the Royals. And, he's a right-handed pitcher. He's a starter. They needed another starter after Cueto left them this offseason. I'll touch on Cueto next week. But, Ian Kennedy was an ace at one point for the D-backs. Was the ace for the San Diego Padres actually last year, too. He's a solid starter. He, has good stuff. Throws relatively hard. He's not, a fireballer, but he's got some velocity behind him, and give him a good lineup. Maybe the Royals are a very fundamental team, so they have great defense. One of the most consistent offenses. Not the best home run hitters or anything, but they get runs scored, and as a starting pitcher, that's what you want. You want your offense scoring runs, and you want to be pitching to some great ball. So we'll see how that 5-year contract works out for him, but I think it's a plus for both the Royals and Ian Kennedy. Moving on to the next one here, I'm gonna be kind of a two-player one. Corey Dickerson got traded to Tampa Bay with Kevin Padlo for Jake McGee and German Marquez. He got traded from Colorado, so the Rockies decided to let him go. I mean, I think he's a solid center fielder. He when he was healthy, that was his issue. He just couldn't stay healthy. That's the issues the Rockies kind of for some reason seem to always fall into, just getting players who can't stay healthy. Which Troy Tulowitzki ended up getting traded off. They have Cargo. If he stays healthy, that guy's just one of the most dangerous hitters in the league if he's healthy. So Corey Dickerson's off Tampa Bay to patrol that center field. I'm assuming maybe if not center field, then right field or left field, obviously. But I think the biggest reason why that trade came into play was they signed Gerardo Parra from previously with Baltimore last year. 3-year contract worth 26 million with the Rockies. Parra came up with the Diamondbacks, then got traded to Milwaukee mid-season 2 years ago, and then last season traded from Milwaukee to Baltimore to help out the Orioles in their postseason push. He's only 20 years old. He's still relatively young. I mean, he's won Gold Gloves of Arizona. He's a great defender. Kind of that pesky maybe leadoff hitter, maybe even batting second in the lineup for the Rockies. He makes contact with the ball. He'll still strike out, but he's makes contact, gets on base, pesky runner. Like I said, won Gold Gloves. So he's a great defender. Got a great arm from the outfield. And with Colorado, you're gonna want good outfielders because the ball seems to carry there. It just is. It's how it is. It just carries there. A lot of points scored. So hopefully he can give us some of their offense, and that's what I think helped the Rockies make the Corey Dickerson deal. Now another one that happened was kind of shocked me was Alexi Ramirez. White Sox, I guess, White Sox didn't want to pay him 10 million, so the Padres took advantage and signed him for a 1-year deal with a mutual option for 2017. So if he has a great year, he's staying with the Padres, I think. He's 34 years old, so he's just getting up there on age, but a long time consistent shortstop for the White Sox, and now he's going to be at the Padres. I think great defense. He was all-star, I think it was all-star last year, it was all-star 2 years ago, sorry. 2 years ago, he was the one that replaced Derek Jeter in the all-star game. I mean, so he's not the best offensive shortstop in the game. That's probably why the White Sox weren't too interested in him anymore with his old age, but solid defender. The Padres, need that defense. They're hoping to have good pitching and hopefully he can have a great offense here for those Padres. I know Padres last year didn't do as great as they did with all the deals they made. However, they seemed to be in the race during the middle of the season. They didn't seem to go away as easy, so they're looking to make some noise in the West. Next deal here is going to be Wei Yin Chen. You got a 5-year deal with the Marlins with a vesting option in 2021. Left-handed pitcher. Great signing for the Marlins. Pitcher-friendly park. He last year not such a great year with Baltimore. That's where he came up at. That's where he started getting noticed was Baltimore. He had a great year 2 years ago. This last year, not so much, but hopefully at this pitcher-friendly, Marlin Park, he can put together a nice year for the Marlins, who are, looking if Giancarlo Stanton stays healthy. You got D Gordon. They're starting to look up now, and adding a 30-year-old starter for 5 years. Hopefully, you can piece it together and help the Marlins, make a run. Make them hopefully, make them better, get them some more wins, get them some notice. So we'll see how that one works out. Another one's gonna be Denard Span. He's 31 years old now. He signed a 3-year contract with the Giants for 31 million. So he's with the Nationals last year, who didn't offer him a contract this upcoming year. So he became a free agent. The Giants took advantage. They've had some issues with Angel Pagan, getting older and just not being able to be healthy for a whole season. Just Denard Span, wasn't healthy at all last season either, but definitely a better option than Angel Pagan. I mean, Angel Pagan I think was a great starter for the Giants when he was healthy, but he just couldn't stay healthy for a long period of times. Denard's band just last year couldn't be healthy all year, but I mean, still his first year at the Nationals, he was, turned out to be that great leader and center fielder that the Nationals needed, and hopefully now the Giants are looking for that to be in their center field for at least 3 years. Um, so some quick ones. I'm not going to go too into detail with them, but Chris Carter, 1 year deal with the Brewers. He'll be that first baseman. Brewers are just trying to look for, I'm assuming, looking for a power bat. That's what Chris Carter is. If he can cut down on his strikeouts, he's have a better make better contact, get his average up, and hopefully the power will come with it too. I mean, he's got the most power in the league, I believe. He's just raw power. He's just crazy power. So the Brewers, hopefully looking he can get that average up. Didn't have a good year last year in Houston. However, if he makes contact, doesn't strike out as much, I think it'll be a great sign with the Brewers. But it's only a 1 year deal because the Brewers don't want to take too much. Don't want to put themselves in trouble by signing them a multi-year. Another 1 year deal with is gonna be Mike Napoli. Made a deal with Cleveland. First base slash DH kind of person for the Indians. He was with the Texas Rangers last year. Made most of his noise with Boston, when he was with the Red Sox. With that, with the big offense there that they had, the big lineup, but kind of died down when he went to Texas. He still had some, consistent years, I would say. Not his best years though with the Rangers. Prince Fielder, after his surgery, proved that he can, still be good for the Rangers. So Napoli kind of, I'd say, got booted out of there because Prince showed that he can be, the guy that he is, and so he's gonna try to, prove himself at Cleveland, maybe get a multi-year after that. He's a little bit older though, so he's getting towards the end of his career, but still a good deal for the Indians, I say, after they have gotten rid of Brandon Moss. Next big one's gonna be Scott Kazmir. This is a big one. Um, 3 year, 48 million with the Dodgers. You know, starting left-handed pitcher. 32 years old. He's not the youngest starter, but he's got that craft now. Came up with Tampa Bay. Had some really great years. Um, Oakland, where he started coming back after he had some quieter years. Then got traded to Houston this last year for the postseason push, and actually made some noise with Houston and got recognized by the Dodgers, who are looking to match the rotation that the Diamondbacks had are trying to put together, and the Giants. And so the Dodgers know that if they don't have that rotation strength, they're going to get kind of left behind, I would say. Because as I said, I think the West is going to be one of the toughest divisions, pitching wise, and maybe and even offensively wise. There's been some offensive deals made also. But no, I mean, Scott Kazmir, that left-handed pitcher too. Lefties are important, and if he can have his great years that he is capable of doing, if his craft that he has built, he's got good strategy and pitching. Mixes up his pitches well. But I think this could be a great deal for the Dodgers, and I think it could turn out, to be a successful. Dodgers seem to always have a great lineup. Always seem to have great years recently, so he can definitely maybe be an all-star, have a 20 win season. Kershaw, yeah, they have Brett Anderson. They have some starters. Even though they lost Greinke, they picked up another lefty, so it's very important for them and for Scott as well. Um, Another one that's and awesome to hear about. I love this. Is Bartolo Colon, another 1 year contract, 7.25 mil with the Mets. This is awesome. He's 42 years old. Had a great year last year as a 41-year-old pitcher. He really has made his craft. He's not a fast pitcher. He's older. He knows he can't pitch fast or his arm's gonna be gone. So for him to keep pitching as successful, even hitting good, his defense is last season, 41-year-old, ball up the line, catches the glove, flips it behind his back like it was no big deal. 41 years old. I mean, it's just crazy. It's awesome. I think it's amazing. It's just defying age, and I'm hoping he has another great year because he's a really is a great pitcher. Really deserves to have another great year. And the Mets have such great pitching that he's looking to have and get that ring, get that World Series in there. Another one, Tony Sipp, 3 year contract with Houston. He's staying in Houston, so the Astros are liking what they're seeing out of him. I think he's a great young player, pitcher. He's got some good stuff. He was with the D-backs, so I've seen his stuff. I've seen his work. He's got some great movement on his pitches. He's a little bit younger still, so he's got that power in his arm as well still. And Astros were the big shocker last year. Hopefully they'll be able to do it again. They got Rasmus back. They have Altuve, um, Jason Evan Gaddis, sorry. I mean, they can put it together again, and their pitching was their strong suit as well. You know, we'll see if Tony Sipp can help out that bullpen some more and see if the Houston can come back and be in the postseason again. Another big one, I would say, just because of how well known the name is, just saying the name, John Axford. The longtime closer with the Brewers, where he got noticed. Just the name is Axford. You hear that name, and you think, what? Where's he at? Who's he playing for? Who's he pitching? The right-hander is pitching with Oakland. Got a 2 year deal. I thought he was a little bit older, so I was kind of shocked how young he still kind of is. Only 32 years old. I mean, that's considered older in a sense, but I mean, Bartolo Colon's 42, so he's 10 years younger than that. But he was in Colorado last year. Kind of had a down year last year. Not used to what you're seeing from Axford, but great split finger. That's what he made his name with. Get the ground balls, get in there and close. I don't think he'll be the closer, as Oakland still has Sean Doolittle, who has proven to be a great, consistent player, all-star for Oakland now. So maybe just a setup man or just another person in that bullpen of Oakland there. Oakland was looking to make some noise last year, but didn't piece it together as well as I thought they were going to. We'll see how they do this next year. It's hard to tell. Oakland, like I said, it's gonna be hard to tell. I think they just got to piece it together better than they did last year. Get that offense going better earlier. You're behind Sonny Gray, so you got some pitchers there. They just gotta piece it together. Axford's a good piece to throw into that bullpen. Ground ball pitcher there. We'll see how that works out. Oliver Perez, left-hander, 34 years old, 2 year deal, worth 7 million with the Nationals. So Nationals adding that he's a little bit older. He's got that craft. He's got some wisdom in there. I'd say he knows what he needs to do to be a successful pitcher. He his windup is kind of what's getting him fits for the hitters. He mixes it up. He doesn't do the same windup every time. He'll go a big windup, big leg kick. He'll do it fast. He'll turn his body like all the way around, facing towards second, come back around at you. Great slider. Mixes, that just with that mix on his windup is, and being a left-hander, it throws off the hitters. Hitters say it throws him off. I'd say he came to be known in Arizona when he had a 2.91 ERA. His first year in Arizona. His second year, was doing not so bad. He had like a 3.2, I think, ERA, and wasn't too bad. it's not bad ERA, and then the D-backs decided to go ahead and trade him off to Houston. So he was in Houston last year to help with the late postseason push. He pitched for them in the postseason. Wasn't confusing, just wasn't really giving them any fits to hitters with Houston. So I think that's why Houston didn't offer him another deal, and I think that's why now he's back and got a deal in Washington. Washington probably likes his craft. They need that another left-handed pitcher. Washington's another team that started off great, kind of slowed down, and the Mets took advantage of it and took the East. So we'll see if Washington can push back, and I think this addition of Oliver Perez is a good addition for him to help and after their starters have a good outing, their bullpen can keep it up and they can keep the leads. I'm sorry. Another one's gonna be Neil Walker. It's kind of shocked me. 30 years old, he got traded to the Mets from Pittsburgh for John Neese. I mean, I thought the Pirates wanted to keep him there for a while. I mean, he's all-star second baseman. He's great. He's got power. Switch hitter. He's got great power for it. He's good defender as well. I mean, not the best defender in the league, but he's consistent defender. One of the most powerful second basemen in the league, though. So and the Mets without Daniel Murphy not signing with him anymore. They needed a second baseman and they traded for it and got Walker, which I think is a great thing for them. Daniel Murphy didn't have a consistent year at the preseason, postseasons when he kind of broke out. So that's what the Nationals want him to be doing all year for them. We'll see if that goes down. But Neil Walker is that I'd say shown to be more consistent than Murphy has. So I think the Mets actually won that second base position with Neil Walker. Gave a pitcher, Nice. So the Pittsburgh's looking for pitching. As you can kind of tell there. Maybe they have some some prospects down there to play second base, so they'll fill in the role, but not going to replace them right away. And I believe the Mets won this trade. To me, they're going to benefit it from the most. He's going to give them offense all season, not just in the postseason if they make it there again. So this is a great trade. I think it's awesome for the Mets. They win, definitely win. Um, so another one, kind of a big one, Starling Castro. It's only 25 years old. Some people forget how young he still is. He's still learning. He really is. That's his biggest issue with Chicago. He's just learning. So he got traded to the Yankees from Chicago for Adam Warren and a player to be named. So the Cubs got some pitching out of it. They have Addison Russell. They have other players who have shown to be better consistent than Starling Castro has for the Cubs. So that's why the trade was so easy for the Cubs, I would say, to happen. I read that the Yankees are going to try him out at the hot corner, third base. So because they have Didi, be the shortstop, Didi Gregorius. He had a decent year, I'd say. Defensively not his best, but had some great times. Hopefully, he was just maybe nervous. It's a big name, the Yankees. So we'll see how Starlin Castro shows there. If he can, tone up his defense, that's his toughest thing right there. His worst is his defense. But he's got a bat. I think he's gonna benefit from this trade. We'll see how he handles the defensively third base, but offensively, I think he's gonna succeed from this. I think it's gonna help him out offensively. So the Yankees, they're looking for players that they just need to fix one thing, and they're gonna be all stars. So I think they are gonna try to do that for him. Uh, Another name here for you, Nori Aoki. He's 34 years old. 1 year with Seattle. Um, I decided to talk about him because even when he was healthy, he was. I think he was going to be an all-star if he stayed healthy the whole time for the Giants last year. He one of the best leadoff hitters last season until he got hurt. He was always on base, had good average, good on base percentage. Um, he's got some power behind him too. Um, Not the most power, but he's got some power there. I mean, but his biggest thing is contact. He's a pesky hitter, but he's got some pop on his bat. He's not a lot of pop, but he can hit some home runs here and there. But his biggest thing, like I said, is it's peskiness. He's gonna make contact. He's gonna get on base. He's gonna annoy the starting pitcher by getting on base right away. Seattle needed another outfielder. They got rid of Trumbo. It's the next name I'll pull up there, but so they're looking to hopefully make some noise with it. So we'll see how the trade rolls. We'll see how the sign rolls with them. If he stays healthy, I think he's going to be that consistent outfielder, which is what they need. Next name for you, Mark Trumbo. Got traded to Baltimore from Seattle for Steve Clevenger. So Trumbo's kind of trying to find himself. He got the biggest. He was being consistent in Los Angeles, big power bat, and then all of a sudden got traded to Arizona. So he didn't work out for Arizona, and then Arizona traded him to Seattle last season, and really hit rock bottom, I would say, in Seattle. I mean, did not benefit from that at all. So we'll see if he can benefit from the lineup in Baltimore. The Cannon Yards, I think, is a great yard for him to be in. He's only 30 years old still. He's got amazing power in his bat, good quick swing. Just needs to be able to make contact the ball more. Find his pitches and make contact, and then let the power come from there. But I think he'll benefit from this trade. We'll see how it works out for them. Uh, all right, so last one on this week's edition for you is gonna be Cameron Maybin. The trade with him to Detroit for Ian Kroll and Gabe Spire. He's only 20 years old still. Some people forget, how young he still kind of is, and he's been in the league for a long time. Florida. He's coming back to Detroit. His rookie year as Detroit got to Florida, but he came big. Was in San Diego, and then went to Atlanta. Didn't have such a great year in Atlanta, so that's why I think the Braves were so kind of easy to get rid of him. Um, but I think he's gonna benefit from this. I mean, the Detroit Tigers, JD Martinez, he's gonna be that leadoff hitter guy. He's gonna get on base for them. So if he is able to make contact and get on base, he'll work out great for Detroit. We'll see how it goes. Um, but if he's able to make contact with the ball, stay healthy, his defense is great. I mean, he's got good defense, he's got good speed, so he can be able to be center field for Detroit. It's got a fairly big size park, I would say, but we'll see how it goes for them. I think it's gonna work out. So that's gonna be this week's edition right here for you guys. I mean, I'm gonna touch on some of the bigger names, like I said, next week. Feel free to comment on this. Tell me if you have any questions more about anything. If you have some names you might want me to bring up next week, it'll be tough, but I'll try. And yeah, so tune in next week for the next edition of the ins and the outs of the off season.